Washington's game, John Home Sports is brought Filtered Miller Genuine Draft. The #1 draft Miller Genuine Draft. The #1 draft choice of Capitals fans. Tap into the cold. By Subaru. Subaru built their reputation by building a better car. And by Labatt's Blue, the crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer. Between friends, it's true blue, Labatt's Blue. And by Kodak. Show your true colors with Kodacolor Gold Film. And by Texaco System 3 gasoline. After 5 tanks, it gets even better. The Capitals and the Rangers locked up 1 victory apiece so far in the Patrick Division final round. And tonight they begin the first of 2 here at the Capitol Center for games 3 and 4. Good evening, everybody. Mike Forens, your play-by-play host, along with Al Koken. This crowd filing into the building here tonight with a little bit of uneasiness, I think, with the loss of Dino Ciccarelli, knowing that the Capitals are going to have to come up very big to beat the New York Rangers. I'd like to see them play the way they did in Game 2 at Madison Square Garden.
And there's also some gasps of surprise when it was announced that Michael Pivonka will not be out of the lineup. So you've got 2 major offensive thrusts for the Washington Capitals that will not be there. But it is going to be a defensive series. I felt that way all along. Even though the first 2 games were very offensive, I think it's going to be like the New Jersey series. Once it comes back to this building, it's going to be concentrated on defense for both sides, and that's going to be the key.
Public Relations Director Lou Corletto told us that Pivonka was out of action tonight because of the flu or some sort of a stomach disorder. Now let's head down to Jeff Rimmer, who's standing by with Capitals coach Terry Murray.
Thanks, Mike. Terry, everyone talking about the absence of Dino Ciccarelli. How do you see Dino not being in the lineup affecting the Capitals tonight?
Well, to start with, Jeff, you know, you're going to miss a guy like Dino Ciccarelli. He's a top player for us. He's a threat every time he's out on the ice. The opposition put out their checkers. It keeps their best players off the ice. So the effect is going to be felt. But, you know, the fact is he's gone. He's out of the series, and we're going to have to somebody else to step in and do a real good job for us.
What can we look for as far as adjustments in the absence of Ciccarelli?
Well, right now, before the game here tonight, I'm thinking of putting a John Tucker in there, Jeff. You know, he's got some offensive skills, and to put him with Ridley and Miller, I think that defensively we're in pretty good shape, and offensively with Tucker there, that he should be able to do some good things also.
Any other changes tonight?
No other changes. I'm hoping everything stays the same as far as, you know, getting on top of the Rangers early, being able to score early. I think that was a real key in Game 2, that we were able to get a couple of goals early and make them play from behind.
What about Donnie Beaupre? He back in goal?
Yeah, Donnie Beaupre is going to go back in goal. I can't make a change there with the way he's played, and the success in the playoffs here has just been tremendous in the New Jersey series and against the Rangers the other night. So I'm just hoping for the same good play.
Final question, everyone in New York looking for that Terry Murray coach's manual. Any thoughts on Game 3?
If we keep talking about that coach's manual, I'm never going to be able to sell it when my coaching career is over, Jeff. It's going to be cut to shreds.
Coach Terry Murray, let's go back upstairs.
All right, Jeff, thank you very much. The Rangers in town tonight, and they come aboard with 2 players that have done a very good job for them who were not on the roster earlier this year.
Well, you talk about firepower. They certainly have added firepower through trades. Bernie Nichols, you watched that Game 1 of this series at Madison Square Garden. You remember Bernie Nichols coming up with a hat trick, a very valuable man. That night he scored 2 even strength goals, but he is a very dangerous player on the power play. And, of course, Mike Gartner, the former Capital, he is starting to play much better. He was physical and did a lot of hitting and skating early in the New York Islanders series, but didn't get any goals until he erupted for a hat trick in Game 5. He then has added goals in each of the first 2 games against the Capitals, so he's got 5 goals in his last 3 games, and I know he'd like nothing better than to come in and quiet this crowd down with an early tally.
The Capitals, although they are missing Ciccarelli in the lineup tonight, have found scoring from some of the other players who've kind of risen to the forefront. They're going to be hoping to do that some more tonight with others as well.
Well, Mike, every successful playoff team always gets good play from their regular people, but always find a surprise player, and I think the Capitals may have found him in John Druce. John Druce with only 8 goals in 46 games in the regular season. He's already got 7 coming off a hat trick of his own the other night where he scored at even strength on the power play and shorthanded. And that's also key because not only is he playing well at even strength, he's getting specialty team time, and his confidence is at an all-time high. And you heard Terry Murray talk about his change, putting John Tucker in the lineup. John Tucker will be playing both right wing and center. He'll probably start out at center ice because of the injury to Pavanka. I think Stephen Leach will come up and play with Ridley and Miller. But John Tucker is going to have a big rest of the series. He is a terrific offensive player. He's a guy who's very valuable on the power play because he handles the puck well, but he really is going to have to be consistent. He's not going to be a physical guy, but he's got to get in the corner and work when he is on right wing, and his puck handling skills can be a factor.
Okay, the Capitals split the series with the Rangers up in New York. Both teams will be trying to accomplish perhaps the same goal here in Landover for games 3 and 4. Both clubs are ready to go. Now it's time for the playing and singing of the national anthem.
Please rise and join Glenn Cunningham in singing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flare upon bursting in air gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of hope there.
Refereeing tonight's game will be Don Koharski. The linesmen are Wayne Bonney and Ron Finn. The alternate official is Dennis Morrell, and the New York Islanders off-ice officials are in town. They'll be handling the duties as off-ice officials, running the clock and the goal judging. Here's the starting goaltenders. Mike Richter at 2.29 gets the call once again. He's unbeaten in the playoffs. Had half a game the other night in New York, but wasn't involved in the decision when he relieved John Van Beesbrook. Don Beaupre, 4-1 and a 2.58 average in 5 games played. He'll be backed up by Mike Liut for the Washington Capitals. Dale Hunter against Kelly Kissio. He leans in, and here we go. Game 3 is underway, and the Rangers get the draw. Here comes James Patrick rushing the puck to center. Gets across the blue line. Patrick, a backhand pass in front, and it goes to the corner for Kissio. He throws it in behind the net. Now it's chased by Ogrodnik for New York, and Ogrodnik comes back to the blue line and has it poked by Hunter all the way down the ice, back inside the Ranger zone. Normand Rochefort back to pick it up for the Rangers. Leads the pass ahead on right wing to Kissio, the New York captain. Here's Kissio across the line, around Scott Stevens. Takes it behind the goal. He tries to center, but it again goes off the boards and all the way back down into the Ranger end of the ring. Dale Hunter into forecheck, challenges Greshner for the puck. It's played loose in the corner, and now in comes Tim Berglund to take it. Berglund backs it up for Courtnall. He's bumped on the play. Hunter recovers by keeping the pressure on. Dale Hunter over now to Courtnall, and a whistle. And it looks like the Rangers caught possibly with too many men on the ice during a line change there. The whistle blew, and Don Koharski having a count here as well after the linesman blew the whistle and stopped play. And if so, that's a big break for the Capitals to get the game's first power play as the Rangers got things fouled up changing lines.
Well, Mike, it looks like the Rangers had members of 3 different lines out there. Wilson was out there, Chris King was out there, Gardner, Kissio. These guys all play on different lines. And apparently the communication that was missed, you can count the Rangers right here. 6 Rangers you got. 3 at the top, 3 at the bottom. And the communication problem, and one of the things I think, you know, you come down where you have had 2 games with the final matchup, and you know which guys you've gone out against in Madison Square Garden, and that may have been part of the confusion. Caps' chance to strike early and get what's proved to be the key to their playoff success so far, that first goal of the hockey game.
Washington, 2 power play goals in game number 2 on 3 opportunities. Really bringing their special teams out of the woodwork where they had been for much of the playoff series prior to that. Rangers killing off just one of those 3 in the second game. Here's a slap shot, and Hatcher sends it up high off the glass. Now back to the blue line again for Scott Stevens. He leads into the corner, and Mike Ridley takes it back to the point, and it gets away from Stevens all the way back into the Washington zone. Here's Kevin Hatcher back to pick it up. 1:40 remaining in the power play for the Capitals. Leads a pass out right side, and Mike Ridley works the center. Here comes Ridley across the blue line, inside the Ranger zone. Ridley sets up with a man advantage. Over to Steve Leach. Back to the point. Here's Stevens. Now to Hatcher. Kevin Hatcher off the boards. To Leach. Back to the point again for Hatcher. Into the corner for Bob Joyce. He centers. A shot. And it goes just wide of the net. And the rebound taken back in the corner now by Joyce. Back again to Stevens. His drive hit a skate in front. A rebound fired just wide. Bob Joyce to pick it up again for Washington. He fires. A save. Rebound loose and finally stick handled to the corner by James Patrick of New York. The penalty is half over, and the puck is cleared all the way down the ice back into the Washington zone. Here is Scott Stevens for the Capitals. 49 seconds to go in the power play. 2-line pass from back inside the Washington zone, and that immediately stops play, and we'll have a face-off coming up here with 17:58 remaining in the first period, and pretty good pressure there from the Washington power play.
Well, great. They were able to work it down low. A nice give and go between Joyce and Stephen Leach. Leach's shot, though, wide of the net. But the Capitals kept that rebound alive, and Richter had to make a couple nice stops. But the Capitals also had some opportunities that they did not put on the net. A flurry of activity on that power play, which has 48 seconds left to go. One of the things, too, we saw, Mike, the Capitals really pressing to the front of that net. A smaller goaltender is Mike Richter, and you need traffic in front of him to try and not let him get a good shot at that puck. His quickness compensates for a lot of that, and so you better make sure if you can get a clean shot at him and not let him see it. The best way to handle him, particularly on the power play.
Unfortunately, some of the traffic blocked some of the Washington shots, but now the power play is over anyway as Scott Stevens is sent to the penalty box for slashing. So it'll be 4-on-4 for the next 34 seconds. And then when Chris King completes serving the New York bench penalty, the Rangers will have their power play chance. Time of the call, 2:16 of the first period. No score in this game. The Capitals have the only 2 shots on goal. Dale Hunter sent out there with Kelly Miller, Calle Johansson, and Bob Rouse. The Rangers have Kissio on the ice with Greshner, Moeller, and Brian Mullen. Four skaters aside, and here comes Kissio striding out to center ice. His pass attempt broken up by Hunter, but given right back to Kissio. Kissio walks in and shoots, and Beaupre sticks that aside. Now Bob Rouse in the corner. Here comes Rouse leading it ahead to Miller. Kelly Miller to the blue line. Gets inside Ranger ice. Fires a shot. Richter makes the save and finally comes up with it out of his glove, and no whistle on that call. Richter held the puck plenty long enough, but apparently intended to play it, and Koharski felt that he was going to play it and gave him every opportunity. Here's a centering pass wide. Capitals wouldn't have minded a face-off in the New York zone. Now here's Mullen. Back to the point. Slap shot deflected right on. Beaupre makes the save, and he's hurt. The whistle blows, and after stopping that shot, Don Beaupre collapsed on the ice, and trainer Stan Wong is coming out now to render some attention. Beaupre now up to his knees, but made the save and then lay flat on the ice. We're down to a minute remaining in the Scott Stevens penalty.
Well, we'll see if it gets him in front. This drive coming through the point, and you see all the traffic in front. A change of direction. Beaupre also getting kind of a bit of a collision in there with his own player, Rod Langway. We'll see how Beaupre is. He's still getting attended to when we come back.
It is a race from California to New York to win America's favorite light beer. It is the Tour Delight. Here comes the Jamaican bobsled team, Flecko and White, and of course, Run DMC.
Hey guys, I know a shortcut. Follow me.
Well, there goes Woody Harrelson. They all want to win the less filling beer that really tastes great, Miller Lite. And so, it's on to New York.
Canada. All right. That's on the map.
Well, Don Beaupre is up, but apparently he is headed to the dressing room. Stan Wong going with him, so there must be some medical attention needed. And Mike Liut comes in a very difficult situation.
He's limping, Al. I thought, too, that it might be some sort of a stick injury, but it looks as though he is dragging that leg.
Well, let's take one more look at it. There is traffic in front, and there also looks like there's a late collision with Rod Langway. Well, there's that stick coming in and catching him possibly on the inside of the thigh. That's what does it. Kelly Kissio coming in with that stick, but going at it legitimately in an attempt to get the puck. But the Capitals cannot stand any more injuries. And Mike Liut has got to come in ice cold and now faces the final minute of this Ranger power play.
No warm-up for Liut, but he enters the game here, making his first appearance in this series since the opening contest in New York, in which he was tagged with the loss. Here come the Capitals out on the attack, though. Mike Ridley gets across the blue line, takes a shot. It's blocked by Turcotte to the corner. I would look for Beaupre to return and come back in goal in this game. Here's a lead pass out to center ice. Left side now and chased into the corner. Kerry Wilson knocked to the ice by Hatcher. Here's Ridley trying to dig it free. And now over to Rod Langway. Pinned by Gartner. The puck cleared out of the zone and all the way back to center ice. Only 18 seconds left in the Ranger power play. Here's Turcotte to throw it in. The puck goes off the back of the netting, and now Langway clears it up the boards. Comes back to the corner. Langway is able to fish it out of the referee's skates, and now Hatcher clears it all the way out to center. High stick call now as the puck was knocked down out of neutral ice from a stick held above the shoulder.
Just 2 seconds remaining in the penalty. Once again, the Capitals with terrific work on their penalty killing unit. They're attacking the points, but the other thing that's going on with the Rangers trying to get it down low, the Caps defense are just not caring whether they get another penalty or not. They are removing people from the front of the net, knocking them down in any way possible, just not allowing them to set up. And when you get aggressive work from your forwards out of the points, and that same aggressive and physical work from your defensemen, then you're in good shape when you come off to killing a dangerous New York Ranger power play. Trainer Stan Wong has returned to the ice, but Don Beaupre still is in the Capital locker room.
Well, that no doubt would mean that Beaupre is now under a doctor's attention as Stan comes back on the bench to be with the players. When I said that I thought Beaupre would return to this game, Al, that certainly will be dependent on how serious an injury it is. But if it's something where he goes in and gets some sort of quick medical attention, I would think Terry Murray would put him right back into this game.
Well, when we saw it with the stick coming in, it looked like there could be a bruise situation, possibly some sort of gash if it happened to get through all that padding that he wears underneath there. But
right off the face-off, some pressure in front of the net. Richter makes the save, and we get a quick whistle. And the fans wanting to know how come Koharski stopped play so quickly there. Terry Murray agreeing after Richter was given all kinds of time to hold the puck before.
Certainly seemed like the last time Koharski allowed everything to go, he couldn't have seen the puck. Richter had it removed from play, and that's when the referee should be blowing the whistle. A little quicker that time.
From the face-off, the puck goes to the corner, and now here's Muller to play it up the boards. He gives it to Mullen. He's checked by Nick Kypreos. Rob Murray is unable to keep it inside the zone, and as the puck came out, he threw it right back in. The play's offside. You're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs on Home Team Sports.
Announcing the Subaru Spring Training Program. now's the time to drive home a Subaru, like the Legacy. With a power-hitting 16-valve, 130-horsepower engine, the options of civilized four-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes. You can save up to $1,500. That baby is out of here. Factory-to-dealer cash incentives on selected models mean you could save up to $1,500 on a Subaru.
Terry Murray getting the last line change, and he puts Tucker, Berglund, and Joyce out there for the first time tonight against this line that's got Janssens, Broughton, and the good checker, Jan Eriksson.
Here's Janssens to center ice, and Johansson takes it away over to Bob Joyce. Now Joyce tied up. Tucker jumps right into it. Tries to clear the puck. Now the Rangers take possession. Eriksson loses it, and here's Tucker across the line to Berglund. Berglund goes to the corner. Has Lindy Ruff right on him. The puck lying in the corner. Here's Johansson with it. Takes it behind the goal. Back to the point. Hatcher, slap shot. Save made by Richter. Berglund tripped up in front of the net. And a Ranger penalty for high sticking to Lindy Ruff. Washington gets the power play back.
This graph shows that your car can drive better with Texaco's System 3 gasoline. In the BMW test, ordinary gasoline built up valve deposits, but System 3 actually took them away. Tank after tank, valves got cleaner and cleaner. As for performance, after 5 tanks, it gets even better.
Johansson gets the puck back to Kevin Hatcher. His drive is stopped by Mike Richter. But in an effort to try and keep Tim Berglund away from the net, Lindy Ruff gets the stick up on him, knocks him down right there in the crease. That gets the call from Koharski, and another capital power play with that high sticking call to Ruff at 5:04.
Caps have outshot the Rangers 5-1. And pushing and shoving now from the faceoff, and Bob Joyce is given a warning from Don Koharski. The same speech given to Normand Rochefort of New York. Here we go with Joyce in to work the faceoff. Again, the Rangers control the draw. Patrick plays to the point. It's kept in by Hatcher. Now recovered by James Patrick. He leads it out of the zone to center ice. Paul Broughton on the right wing. Hatcher falls down. Here's a shot around him. And the save made by Liut. Now taken back to the corner for Hatcher. Kevin Hatcher with the puck. Over to Scott Stevens. Stevens starts back. Rushes it to center ice. And it goes off Hatcher's stick. He carries to the blue line, but Steve Leach was trapped offside inside the Ranger zone.
I think Paul Broughton had made up his mind to shoot anyway. Didn't recognize that Kevin Hatcher had gone down and basically given Broughton a clear shot in a little deeper against Mike Liut. The Capitals not only need to get things established, and they did a pretty decent job of it the other night with the power play, but they just like to get some equal power play time. The Rangers coming into tonight's game at 12 power plays compared to 6 for the Capitals, and so many more extra minutes because of those major penalties that were given to the Capitals the other night.
Rangers went 1 for 6 in game 2, while the Capitals went 2 for 3. Here's a hit by Steve Leach. Puck cleared off the boards, and Janssen throws it out to center. Hatcher recovers there. Starts back across the line. Again, offside, Washington. They'll call for a line change now as Terry Murray is sending out Jeff Courtnall with Dale Hunter and John Druce. And we have a minute 12 left in the Lindy Ruff penalty.
You know, one of the other things, Mike, with the injuries to Ciccarelli and Pavonka, you've got two guys who work a lot of power play time, particularly Dino. So it's given more time to a guy like Stephen Leach, a little more time for Bob Joyce. John Druce, who's been enjoying that great series so far, had been upgraded and had a lot of power play time the other night. He's out there right now with Courtnall, Dale Hunter at center, John Druce playing the right wing. Hatcher remains. Calle Johansson comes out to take over for Scott Stevens. Rochefort and Moeller on defense. Janssens and Eriksson, the penalty-killing forwards for the Rangers.
Here's Hatcher. Left side for Calle Johansson. Now Courtnall, a shot. That goes wide, and Hunter trying to fish it out. Puck centered, and a drive on goal. Rebound shot, and a goal! John Druce has as many goals now in the playoffs as Dino Ciccarelli, and he puts Washington into a 1-0 lead.
And it's the spot to beat Mike Richter. Do it up high. Richter can't hang on. John Druce gets 2 whacks at it. If we could take this replay back to the faceoff and watch the play the Capitals work from that faceoff. They spring Calle Johansson wide left and allow Kevin Hatcher to get it to Johansson and get Johansson into the zone to start the entire play. If we get a later opportunity, it's a beautiful work off the faceoff to spring Calle Johansson and get things started on that key power play goal to give the Caps the 1-0 lead. And if we remind you again, the Capitals, when they have scored first in every playoff game, they have won each of those games.
Number 8 on the season for John Druce in the second season of the playoffs. Time of the goal, 6:04 on the power play goal. Courtnall picking up the assist, and Dale Hunter with the other. Leach throws a hit. Washington leads 1-0. Leach has it in behind the goal. He's hit hard in the corner, and Leach is still standing while Nichols goes flying through the air. Here's Steve Leach walking in. Leach coming on. Couldn't get the shot away. Played back into the corner. Now it's sent out of the zone and all the way back inside the Washington end, and here's Rod Langway to get it. Up ahead to Steve Leach. Stolen, hooked to the corner. Nichols can't come up with it. Langway has control. Rod Langway throws it up the right wing boards for Leach. Taken away by Mike Gartner. He's checked on the play. Ridley leans in, tries to get it. Now Langway fishes for the puck, and some pushing and shoving starting there as a little retaliation back and forth between Nichols and Ridley, with a former Washington Capital at the bottom of that pileup in Mike Gartner, who now wears number 22 for the New York Rangers.
Mike, I really feel this is going to be the ugliest game of the series. I think it's going to be not only extremely physical, I think we're going to see a lot of altercations. Leach and Bernie Nichols, and I think a lot of players are realizing the strength of Stephen Leach right now. Bernie Nichols has got him lined up, and it's Leach who stays on his feet. Now Don Koharski making some penalty calls, and I don't know if this is just only on the Capitals or if they're getting 2 players off the ice.
I think there's going to be an extra New York call for a cheap shot taken after everything was over with. And I think Washington will come out of this with another power play chance. We'll sort it all out and bring you all the results in just a moment.
Yeah, we just scored. No, I didn't see Kevin get hit. Kev, you okay?
I wind up in the hospital, and Bob gets a winning goal.
I couldn't let Kevin miss the party.
I was having a pretty good time where I was.
Friends deserve the best.
Friendship. Just being there.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
I have to be flat on my back to get Bob to buy me a blue.
Between friends, it's true blue. Labatt's Blue.
Well, I was not correct about the power play. It's going to instead be Leach and Nichols, each getting 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct. If those were the calls, Al, I'm surprised it wasn't another 10 given to somebody.
Yeah. Well, Don Koharski, one of the better referees in the National Hockey League, and I think he feels this game has a chance to really get out of control, trying to strike out early and keep things under control. We talk about guys stepping up and filling in for other players. Stephen Leach getting the role, playing on that line where Dino Ciccarelli normally would be playing, and he's been out there a very physical presence already in this game.
At the point, here's a shot by Moeller. Kick save Liut. Now back to the corner. Bob Rouse throws a hit. He ties up, and now the puck comes loose to the blue line. Kept in by Lindy Ruff. Kissio to Grodnik. Back passes to the sideboards, and Druce is able to throw it out of there and clears it ahead of the left wing. Here's Courtnall, a break, a slap shot. Pad save Richter, and Hunter can't settle down the bouncing puck on the rebound. Back to Courtnall. He's checked as he ties up against the boards. At the point, Stevens ties up his man. The puck cleared all the way back to the Washington blue line, and here comes Bob Rouse to get it. Ahead for Druce. He lugs it back inside the Ranger zone. 12 minutes to go, first period. starts ahead on the right wing. Caps leading 1-0 on a goal by John Druce. Inside the Washington zone, Stevens helps guide it wide of the Washington net. Now here comes Druce for the Capitals, out to Hunter. Dale Hunter, 3-on-2 break. Hunter, right side for Druce. In across the line. Centers it. Quick ball, a shot, and a goal! Scoring the goal, Jeff Courtnall gets mugged by our New York Ranger. And Neil Sheehy and others quick to take up his defense. That's what's going on now. Sheehy is all tied up in there, and he's the man on the bottom for the moment. Scott Stevens is also involved in another altercation. He's been pulled away from that. And Sheehy is trying to get a hand loose in there. But linesman Wayne Bonney and Ron Finn have separated Scott Stevens from Chris King, and now Sheehy's getting a talking to from referee Don Koharski. And I think that is it Brian Mullen?
I think that's Jansen's.
Number 15 would be Mark Jansen's, and some pretty sour grapes there. It's Brian Mullen being pulled away from Sheehy, but some pretty sour grapes after Courtnall scores the goal. We'll watch it again.
Well, you couldn't run a 3-on-2 much better. John Druce draws the people. Courtnall fills in that middle slot and puts it right through Richter. Then you see how he's run into the boards afterwards by Chris King. Now, the referees throughout the playoffs have been told now by the league office to keep an eye on these cheap shots after goals have been scored. Let's see what Don Koharski does. Chris King should be out of this game for quite some time. If Don Koharski's going to run this game the right way, Chris King has got to be out of here for quite some time.
See, Courtnall has time to make the shot. Now King just rides him right into the boards. And it's going to be fascinating to see exactly how these penalty calls come out. And Terry Murray is waiting on those calls along with the rest of us right now. Courtnall has some argument down in the referee's crease now. And that may be a bad sign for the Capitals. Meaning that not enough penalty calls might be coming the way the Caps think they should.
Well, if this is something the referees have been asked to watch, this is a perfect time for Don Koharski to step in and do something.
Time of the goal, 8:20. It's Courtnall's third of the playoffs. The numbers you just saw, the shot clock with the Capitals in the lead 10 shots to 3, showing their domination here in this first period. The explanation now, Rod Langway does not seem satisfied with it.
Well, if Don Koharski, the only thing that Chris King may have done is at the very end if he pulls up. Now he's riding him, and he's separated him a little bit. There's no question he continued with it after the goal. It may be in the eyes of Don Koharski is saying that Chris King didn't finish it off the way he could have, that would have gotten him much more time. Apparently, though, the Capitals may be getting a power play out of this. Here are the announcements now.
Number 19, John Druce, and number 32, Dale Hunter. Time of the goal, 8:20. Jeff Courtnall getting his third goal of the playoffs with the assist to John Druce and Dale Hunter. On the penalties for New York, number 12, Chris King, 2 minutes for charging, 2 minutes for roughing. Number 19, Brian Mullen, 2 minutes for roughing. The Capitals, number 15, Neil Sheehy, 2 minutes for roughing. The Capitals, number 3, Scott Stevens, 2 minutes for roughing. The time of the calls, 8:20.
Well, a power play for the Washington Capitals. Chris King getting a double minor. 2 minutes for charging, 2 minutes for roughing. Brian Mullen, a roughing call. Stevens and Sheehy each get roughing calls. So the Capitals will have a chance to add on to this league, but I don't think this appeases the Capitals at all. Terry Murray's still very upset. He's trying to get the attention of linesman Ron Finn. I think he feels that Chris King should be gone for much longer than just with those 4 minutes that he got.
control the faceoff. Once again, they have the power play advantage, and they lead 2-0 in this game. Here's Hatcher idling behind his own goal and waits now as Johansson skates up the left wing boards. Hatcher brings the puck to center ice. Shifts it right side, and Courtnall cutting in and loses control. It's played back to the point. Here's Kevin Hatcher. Left side now for Johansson. Over to Hatcher. A wrist shot. A save by Richter. And the Caps trying to pounce on Richter for any loose rebounds, but they get none.
Well, this is something the New York Rangers really have got to start concentrating on. There's traffic building at every opportunity the Caps have on the power play. They've got some tough physical people out there. Normand Rochefort, as good as there is in the business at clearing people out in front. James Patrick out there as well. And this is something the Capitals have exploited the last couple of opportunities. And it was one of the direct reasons for that John Druce power play goal to start the game.
Here's Druce in the corner, now works it loose to Johansson. He throws it behind the net, and over to chase it, Jeff Courtnall. Courtnall hit on the play, and James Patrick clears to the blue line. Kept in there by Johansson. Over to Courtnall in the corner. Courtnall bumped and tries to get loose, sends it back to the point man, Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher walks in, winds, fires, and it's blocked. And the Rangers clear it all the way down the ice to ease the pressure. 1 minute to go in the Washington power play. Here goes Hatcher to center. Stolen puck, a breakaway. Broughton's in alone. He fakes and scores. A shorthanded Ranger goal, their second of this series. And New York is on the board at 2-1 on a goal by Paul Broughton.
Well, Kevin Hatcher tried a long pass right up the middle. It was picked off, and Broughton was in perfect position to make that transition. Now, Kevin Hatcher has been playing a lot of time already. You see that long pass, it gets picked off, and there goes Broughton. All the way, he makes a nice move at the very end, gets Liut to open up and finishes it off on the backhand side. That is the type of goal that can really change the momentum of this hockey game that was all for the Washington Capitals, right back around. Certainly gives the New York Rangers great life.
It's Broughton's first goal in the playoffs. Darren Turcotte gets the assist on the shorthanded goal at 9:29. Back to a one-goal game. 2-1 the score. Here's Wrigley at the side of the New York net. Back to the point for Hatcher. He feeds it over to Johansson. Now to Kevin Hatcher again. To Bob Joyce, a drive, and that's caught by Richter, who was able to see it despite Ridley standing right in front of him. And play is called. 22 seconds left to go in the Washington power play. And 10 minutes and 2 seconds remaining in the first period. You know, Al, lost in all this goal scoring is the fact that Don Beaupre, who left the ice with some sort of an injury and is back in the Capitals dressing room right now, still has not returned. Mike Liut coming in cold to play goal, and right now the Capitals have no backup, which is one thing if Beaupre is only gone for a few minutes with some sort of a minor injury. If he doesn't return for this entire contest, and then something should, for Pete's sakes, happen to Liut, the Capitals would have to designate someone on the bench to come in and play goal in this game.
Well, the other thing that could be going on right now, remember the Skipjacks are at home tonight.
30 minutes down the road.
There's got to be some calls. The Skipjacks, I think, have possibly Sean Simpson sitting extra with Bob Mason and Jim Rivnak as the two goaltenders that are dressed, so he could be on his way down.
John Simpson could be making the move from the radio booth right here to the Capitol Center. Here's Courtnall. We have a delayed penalty call coming up against New York. And now Moeller gets jostled in front of the net. And in retaliation, Dale Hunter gets shoved to the ice by the goalkeeper, Mike Richter.
Well, I think there's going to be another penalty on the Rangers to Randy Moeller. So the Caps just 2 seconds away from losing their power play. Now looks like they're going to have another 2 minutes to get back on top by 2. A cross-checking call to Randy Moeller.
Time of the penalty, 10 minutes, 18 seconds of the first period. Hunter's pleading his case now with the officials.
2 minutes for a cross-checking at 10:18. For New York, number 24, Randy Moeller gets 2 minutes.
Washington's first goal, the goal by Druce, was scored on a power play. Now they'll have a chance to do more damage.
Well, you see a jab that Randy Moeller feels. He's been speared, possibly,
I think he
or
got that
slashed
from Druce.
by either Druce or Dale Hunter. He looked at Hunter first. That's what gets Richter after Hunter. And this is what gets the argument from the New York Rangers. That came after Randy Moeller, I think, had cross-checked Druce down to the ice. Don Kowarski making the call. Now, watch it right here. You see Randy Moeller coming in and cross-checking Druce down. Then he apparently gets a shot from Hunter. The Capitals now with a very quick two-man advantage. If they can win this face-off cleanly, they've got a chance to get something on goal before Chris King can get out of the penalty box, or I guess it's going to be Mullen who's serving that extra time for King before Mullen can get back into action. Dale Hunter will take the draw. Calle Johansson, the lone point man back there. John Druce spread out wide to the left of Hatcher.
Right now, 3 Rangers out there and 5 Capitals. That will last for 2 seconds. Here's Hunter working the draw and winning it to Courtnall. Back to the point, Johansson. A slap shot just wide of the goal. Mullins back out of the box. Now the Rangers are 1 man down. Hatcher against the boards. In behind the net to Druce. In front, a shot and a save. A rebound is loose. A shot and a goal!
It's almost exactly it's almost exactly the same spot he scored his first goal. Look at this. He holds it, and tucks it up high. With Mike Richter down and trapped, just a spectacular play again. Druce walking out of the corner, just showing you some stick handling and some strength, gets that first chance, and look at the battle going on. Hunter literally just takes Rochefort out of the play with Richter down and trapped, Rochefort tied up. John Druce had easy pickings, and that's how the Capitals reversed that short-handed goal from Broughton. Now they're back in it, except now they will have to kill off a power play as Rob Murray, with I think his first shift of the night, is going to get called for hooking. And the Rangers will be able to come back themselves with the extra man.
Hatcher and Johansson assisting on Druce's 9th of the playoffs. 2nd of this game, and 2nd of this game on the power play. Time of the goal, 10:33. And now at 10:41, we've got a minor penalty called against Washington.
Number 23, Rob Murray, 2 minutes for hooking.
And it's a hooking call to Rob Murray.
Washington, number 23, Rob Murray, gets 2 minutes for hooking.
So the Caps now in a penalty-killing role as the Rangers have 1 more skater than does Washington, and the puck cleared back to Rouse. Rouse clears it across the line, back inside the New York zone, and here is Darren Turcotte leading it ahead to Mike Gartner. Left wing side to Nichols. Nichols into the corner. Fires, and a save made by Liut, and he's able to cover up immediately to the right of the goal.
Well, Mike Liut certainly would like to be the beneficiary of the good play that the Capitals featured in front of Don Beaupre the other night. No question that Mike Liut had a tough time in Game 1. I think we'll admit he let in a couple goals he felt he shouldn't have, but there's also no question that the Capitals did not play a good game in front of them. They allowed the Rangers too many second chances, too many opportunities to set up in front. And the way the Caps, though, are starting to play defense now, he should be feeling much better in goal.
Here's Turcotte at the point, leads it over to Nichols. A slap shot, Liut makes the save. Back into the corner. Here's Nichols with the puck. In behind the goal, Bob Rouse tries to dig it out. Clears it up the glass, and it comes all the way out to center ice. Turcotte chased at the blue line. Here's Ridley, in alone, a shot, and a goal!
He's getting whacked, puts that beautiful move on Richter, and Broughton, who had scored earlier, short-handed for the Rangers, not only did the Caps answer back with a power play of their own, they come up with a shorthanded tally. A devastating play by Mike Ridley past Mike Richter to give the Capitals that 4-1 first period lead.
Capitals goal scored by number 17, Mike Ridley.
Number 3 on the playoff series for Mike Ridley. Bob Rouse gets the assist on a shorthanded goal. Only the goal by Courtnall did not involve special teams. Here's John O'Grodnik now for the Rangers. Brings it to Kissio to Mullen. He fires, and it's blocked by Liut. And the puck cleared off the boards and all the way down. Druce putting the pressure on Turcotte. Taken away by James Patrick. Dumped inside the Washington zone. Kelly Miller to the corner after it. Now Rouse right in front of the goal. Clears it to Ridley on the boards. He's hit by Mullen. Ridley back in his own zone. Delayed offside. Drops it off for Stevens. The offside is waved off. And here is Rouse. Left side for Miller. And dumps it all the way down the ice. Penalty's over to Rob Murray. Washington back at full strength. Here comes Moeller. Tries to center it. Moletta shot. Knocked down. Stevens tries to clear the rebound. He gets it ahead. Here comes Bob Joyce, but the penalty, there's a penalty call behind the play now, and it's going to be tripping from back in the Washington zone. This as well, I believe, to be against Washington. Scott Stevens headed off the ice for tripping at 12:58 of the first period. The Rangers will again have the power play.
Scott Stevens, 2 minutes for tripping at 12:58.
Well, Home Team Sports' comprehensive Stanley Cup hockey playoff coverage continues later tonight when HDS presents same-day coverage of the Boston Bruins against the Montreal Canadiens. Should come your way about 11:30 p.m. Then tune in tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. for Game 3 of the Edmonton Oilers LA Kings Smythe Division Final right here after the Orioles take on the Oakland A's. All that here on Home Team Sports, and of course we'll be back here at the Capitol Center Wednesday night for Game 4 of the Capitals-Rangers series, and if there's a Game 6, we'll be here as well. All that on tap here tonight, or ahead for you on Home Team Sports. And also tonight, remember that Home Team Sports will televise all Capitol home playoff games. We'll follow the Stanley Cup right here on Home Team Sports.
Scott Stevens for tripping at 12:58. That gives the Rangers the man advantage once again, but Washington leads 4-1. Bernie Nichols dumps it back into the Washington zone. Here's a slap shot wide through the goal mouth. Cleared all the way off the boards back inside Ranger ice. And Jeff Bloomberg is back to take it. Here comes Bloomberg to center. Gets across the blue line. Dumps it back inside the Washington zone. Puts it in behind the net. Rod Langway clears it up the boards. Here's Bloomberg. Back to the point. Moeller a shot. Save Liut. Rebound. And it's just deflected wide. Bloomberg back to the point. Kept in by Moeller. And Langway clears it out of the zone. And as Nichols takes it inside Washington ice, he is offside.
Bernie Nichols thought it wouldn't be offside. He's contending Mike Ridley played it in, but it simply just deflected off Mike Ridley's body and back over the line. Well, Bernie Nichols with a good chance. Had an open net, but there was some traffic in front, and his shot whistled wide of Mike Liut. Well, the Rangers have to feel so devastated and frustrated right now. Caps need to kill off this penalty and then think defense. They've got a 3-goal lead. They can further frustrate the Rangers. The Rangers are going to have to open things up much earlier than they ever would have imagined. And that's where you can burn them if you're a very patient hockey team and wait for your chances while protecting the lead.
A minute 10 left to go in the Scott Stevens penalty. 6:12 remaining in the first period. Capitals leading 4-1. They've outshot the Rangers 16-8. Neil Sheehy wanted a little better positioning over there against Brian Mullen than Ron Finn was going to allow, and now we see why as the puck came right to Mullen from the faceoff, and he brought it back to Turcotte. Here's Mike Liut, pressed into service. Just 3 minutes and 16 seconds into this game when Don Beaupre suffered an injury on a goal mouth scoring attempt by the Rangers. taken back to the Capitals dressing room and is not returned. Puck cleared all the way down the ice by the Caps to ease the pressure. They have 41 seconds left in the Ranger power play. Ogrodnik is still in Washington ice, trying to hide from Rouse, and now the puck cleared across the line and chipped back into the Ranger bench out of play.
Ranger backup goaltender tonight, John Van Beesbrook, was chased from game 2, coming out at the 9:34 mark of the second period. And does Roger Nielsen think about the same thing now? I mean, Mike Richter looked so strong in game 2 coming in relief, and the Capitals have beaten him. Not that Richter really has been victimized by any bad goals on his part. He hasn't had a lot of help in front, but at the same time, he hasn't come up with the big saves I know Roger Nielsen was counting on, particularly when he comes in shorthanded. That Courtnall goal through the pads, that's the sort of thing Roger Nielsen obviously doesn't want to get into a situation where he's going to have to constantly keep rotating his goaltenders.
Here's Mullen, fires, that's just wide. Now Langway chasing it to the corner. He battles with Kissio. Back to the point. Muller keeps it in. Here's a pass that hops over the stick of Turcotte. And Turcotte dumps it back in the corner. Now Hatcher winds up, clears it out of there, and all the way down the ice. Penalty time about to expire. Scott Stevens ready to jump back on the ice. He's in, and the Caps are back at full strength, but here's a penalty call. As Stevens came out, Broughton was tripped up on the play, and it's going to be interference. And I think Scott Stevens is being sent right back into the penalty box for interfering with Broughton as he came out of the box.
Well, this game is going to be tightly called, obviously, and the Caps have got to be a little more disciplined than this. Scott Stevens so anxious to get a piece of somebody that as Paul Broughton skated by him as he's coming out, it's one thing if you come out and you collide, but there's no question he went right after Broughton. And the way Don Koharski's calling this game, why take the chance? Just get back into the play.
Caps are living dangerously, Al. Not only with taking the penalties, but with Scott Stevens taking 3 penalty calls in a row. That's a lot of time for a valuable player to be off the ice.
No question. I mean, you're in such golden position right now. Don't do anything to give the Rangers hope. The Rangers cut it down to 2 before this period is out. It's still a wide open hockey game. They're very much in it. But if you can continue to keep them off the board, hold your 3-goal lead, and add to it, well, you're in dynamite shape. Don't give the Rangers any momentum. Don't give them a chance to get their power play clicking. Don't give them any reason to feel confident. Don't give them any hope at all.
Mike Ridley leans in and steals the faceoff, sends it to Hatcher. Now picked off by Gartner. He tries to center it. High in the slot. Here's Muller, a shot. Blocked to the corner. Langway over to get it. Nichols picks it up in behind the goal. Hatcher's right on it. Langway battles behind the net with Gartner, his former teammate. And finally, Ridley skates away with it. He's bumped hard on the play, and the puck comes over to Miller. Miller sends it all the way down to ease the pressure. New York with a man advantage for another minute and a half as Stevens is still in the penalty box, serving now an interference call. Muller dumps it in. Liut plays the puck. There's Bob Rouse to clear it. Right back in behind the goal again. Rouse and Millette, they've got something going. Rouse gives Millette a shot. Rouse chasing it behind the goal. Clears back to the point. Turcotte a drive. Save Liut. And now Millette comes in there and dumps Rouse to the ice, knocking him down, and jumps on Rouse's back, hoping to take the Washington defenseman to the penalty box with him. Don Koharski has already called a penalty on Millette, and I think maybe indicating that he's got a double minor on Millette already. He's was encouraging the Washington players not to get involved, and I think Millette may get 2 penalties out of this.
Well, I tell you, that, you can want to talk about undisciplined penalties. That certainly is the case, and Sheehy and Nichols join, and Koharski quickly warning Neil Sheehy, you go any further, and it's a misconduct. But if Millette has taken his team off the power play on a retaliation of his own right, that is just ridiculous. This Ranger team had a chance to climb back in it on the power play. Chance to get a little steam from of their own.
Time of the penalty calls at the 16-minute mark of the first period.
2 minutes for cross-checking and 2 minutes for roughing at 16.
You're right, Mike. Double minor. Millette gets 2 minutes for cross-checking and 2 minutes for roughing. Not only does he take his team off the power play, he gives the Capitals about a 3-minute opportunity when the final minute 4 seconds expire on the Scott Stevens call. You'll see it now, the drive coming in from the point. And you'll see the battle going on in front. Liutas made the save. And right there, Bob Rouse standing up in from behind with a push. Not much of a cross-check, but no question that Don Kowarski, as tight as he's called things, is going to make that call. And then when he tried to get Bob Rouse off the ice with him, he jumped on Rouse's back, never gave Rouse really an opportunity to do anything, and got the extra time for roughing. Roger Nielsen's certainly not a happy man. He's directing, I think, right now Kowarski, but he should also be rather irritated at his rookie, Troy Millette, who has been a major factor for the Rangers all year. This guy has got the look of being a real dominating player for years to come. Some people talk about maybe a young Cam Neely, the way he plays the game. Millette can move, he's got strength, he doesn't mind fighting, and he's got a pretty good shot.
Here's Hatcher in the corner inside the Rangers zone, tries to center. Hunter shoots wide. Now chased on the back glass. The puck knocked down in behind the net. Hatcher tries to dig it loose. The puck comes over to Dale Hunter. Back to the point for Langway. Langway's wrist shot blocked. Here's a break for the Rangers. All alone is Gartner, the former Capital, but he's offside. What a break. Gartner was in such a hurry and has such speed, he took off before that puck crossed the line. Offside, New York.
I think you're right, Mike. It's the speed of Mike Gartner. He's going so fast. He's got to straddle the line. You see where it is. He certainly could have cut in towards the middle more and still had plenty of time to get down all the way. And Roger Nielsen has got to be asking, what else can go wrong? You've got a great guy like that going in.
You brought up the word discipline, Al. Right there is some he had all day to get to the other end of the rink.
Particularly when he was coming down more towards the left side of the ice. If he was coming straight down the middle, he would have had a weave to one side or the other. He could have cut right to the middle and still been in a perfect position to get that pass, turn, and with his speed, would have had plenty of time.
A real break for Washington there as Gartner put himself offside. Now back to the right point. Here's Hatcher keeping it in. Rob Murray chases it. The puck goes to the corner. Here's Mullen to pick it up. In 12 seconds, Stevens comes back on the ice, and Washington will then have a power play for just about 3 minutes. Here's Gretzner around Hatcher, doesn't get a shot off. Liut pushes the puck aside. Back to Patrick. Stevens is back. The Capitals are at full strength. Here's Hatcher starting out. Skates ahead 3-on-2. Stevens on the left wing. Miller across the line. Stevens coming on and throws it behind the net. And Hatcher into the corner is bumped off his skates. The puck cleared. Right out front, though. Here's Stevens passing to Johansson, but he fires wide. The puck rode right off the blade of his stick. Power play time for Washington now, 2.5 minutes. And the puck cleared all the way down. Both teams change up the line. Here is Calle Johansson. Johansson leads it out to center. To Dale Hunter. Hunter tosses it rink wide, and Stevens picks it up. Backs it up to center. And John Druce with 2 goals in this game. Up on the right wing to Hunter, and now again offside called against Washington. And in 5 seconds, the first of the minor penalties to Millette will expire, and then he'll begin serving his second one.
Well, we talked about at the start of this series how specialty teams would be a key and how the Capitals would have to worry about the New York Ranger power play. And right now, it's really the other way around. The Capitals with 4 goals on their last 7 power play opportunities. That has become a major factor in this series. The way the Capitals specialty teams have responded after a dominating performance by the Rangers in Game 1, where they scored 3 power play goals and also tallied once shorthanded.
2 minutes to go, first period. Capitals in the lead 4-1. Here's Bob Joyce as it played by Jansen's out of the zone to center. And now back to Scott Stevens. Over to Calle Johansson. Puck cleared across the line. Here is Stephen Leach. Leads it left side for Joyce into the corner. Rather, Ridley into the corner. Ridley is hit. Back to Leach. He's tripped up. Nothing called. Here's a shot just wide from Stevens. Back to the point, Johansson. He goes left side for Scott Stevens. Moeller pushed in the corner. The puck comes back to Leach. Now at the point, Stevens. Steve Leach, a slap shot deflected wide. Jansen's held up on the play by Johansson, and the puck cleared all the way down back into Washington ice. Mike Liuta's come on very well here in this first period in relief of Don Beaupre, who left because of an injury. We have received no official word as to Beaupre's condition or whether he will be back in this game or what is wrong with him. But it's going to be interesting to see who comes out of that dressing room to start the second period, whether the Caps have a backup goalkeeper. I feel at this point Liut will continue in the game, even if Beaupre was able to return. Liut has done well. Here's Hatcher back in his own end. 38 seconds to play in the period. Courtnall to center ice. Right side for Hunter. Now over to Bob Rouse. Bruce trying to center the puck. Bruce chasing it. Dumps it back in the corner for Hunter. Hunter tries to center, and the Ranger goalkeeper, Richter, helped out by Lindy Ruff, managed to shove Jeff Courtnall against the New York net, knocking it loose off its magnetic goalpost, and that stops play.
What do you think, David Poyles, having Secretary Pat Young type up a temporary contract for John Davidson, the former National Hockey League goaltender, doing color commentary for Madison Square Garden Network? Remember, John Garrett was going to come out, remember that, out in the late in the year with the Edmonton Oilers because of all those injuries. John Garrett, working for Hockey Night in Canada, was going to have a temporary contract, was doing a game in his sweat clothes in case there was an emergency recall needed.
I don't know about John Davidson's loyalties, though. He does work for the Madison Square Garden Network. Perhaps the call might go to Al Coker.
Yeah, right. Maybe much better going off with putting the pads on Doug Shear and put him in there. That's what Dave Settlemyre, who was the trainer for the Philadelphia Flyers, played a little minor league goal and has filled in a couple times in that emergency situation. See, I don't have that goaltender's mentality. I'm a scorer, Mike. I don't have that goaltender's mentality.
Only 11 seconds left in the period. Here comes Hatcher to center. Gets across the blue line. Back to the point for Drews. Skating in. Tries to center it. Courtnall to Hatcher, and there's the horn. We've finished tonight's first period. Washington outshooting the New York Rangers 16-10 and outscoring them 4-1. John Drews with a pair of goals, both on the power play. Ridley shorthanded. Courtnall had one against the shorthanded goal by Broughton for New York. And the Capitals are off to an outstanding start in Game 3 of the Patrick Division Final Round. More live exclusive hockey coverage coming your way right after these words on the Home Team Sports Television Network.